Hello, this is Mark with Redfinch Rental. And now we're going to talk about, should I go to film school or college more globally? That's a good question. I mean, again, it's like, I think a lot of the time what you get with this is, well, I didn't go to college and my career is great, so you don't need to go to college. And then the other thing is, I didn't go to college. I went to college and it was the best experience of my life. It made everything happen, so you need to go to college. And there is a lot of emotion behind it too, because if you didn't go or you did go, like I went to college and my film program was awful, I hated everyone, don't go. And then of course I didn't go and I missed a lot of opportunities. So it's kind of like you're dealing with people's lives, and people can be pretty emotional about that, and rightfully so, because it's their life. They only get one of it, and it's how you spend your life is a very important thing. But again, that's what that worked for them. It was in their experience, and so maybe not necessarily right for you. But when you're like 18 and you're trying, or 20 or 16, you're trying to figure out, you're looking for some sort of guidance. So I think it's worth talking about. So first of all, I'm going to talk about like the good things about going to a film program are you meet a lot of students who are like-minded and they'll want to work on projects. They're excited to make movies. They're there to make movies. You have that in common. So if you make some friends, you're like, hey, let's go make a movie. And you'll just be best BFS forever. It's like you will go to combat together, The bad thing is, so it's excellent networking. A lot of people, more people, if you major in film, will end up in the film industry and they can help you later on than if you like major in history or philosophy, where they'll probably become lawyers or something else. So that's an advantage. The top level programs, and I do mean like the very tippy top, like NYU or USC, to a lesser degree, maybe like Columbia or I don't know, like there's some, I don't want to even kind of give second level, but it's like if you go to NYU or USC, those programs have something of connections that can feed into higher level things for you. It's amazing how quickly that like drops off. UCLA, of course, also is in that category to a degree, but because they're just right there in the industry. But I can tell you though, if you graduate from one of those schools and you expect the fact that you graduated from USC or NYU to get you a job, it won't. It won't. But there are people, like maybe 2 or 3 a year, who get an extra little break. Like they'll look at those programs in industry, but it's not like every class they're taking everybody who graduates from them. In fact, honestly, if you mention USC and NYU and kind of like a name droppy, I'm going to get me a job with this name drop, you'll kind of get an eye roll from people because, it's just a film pro degree. It's not like, you really actually did anything. So sorry, but it's true. So the bad things about film school is I don't know if necessarily film programs really teach you how to work hard, because your homework is watching movies, which is good, but it's fun to watch movies. It's fun to hang out with your friends and make little movies. But like truth is, it's kind of really hard work to work in film. And so it's just kind of like one big party and then you graduate and then it's hard work. And I don't know if I think people are often surprised with that when they graduate. I don't know if you read enough. Again, like the only way to really learn to make movies is to make movies and watch movies. The only way to learn how to write a script is to read scripts, write scripts. And I don't know if there's enough reading and writing going on. And you can do this yourself. Just Google like script catalog. There's a bunch of websites. You can download the script to Back to the Future and read it. Read the script for Back to the Future. Read the script to The Terminator. I don't know. Or just read the script to like your top 10 favorite movies. And you will find that it's kind of like the ultimate behind the scenes story. The script may be different than the actual movie you saw, and there's kind of, you can see in between the lines, but you see what a good script looks like. And I think it's valuable because then you can write a script that looks like what you want to see translated on the screen. Whereas a lot of scripts, their first mistake is they're way too wordy, way too much dialogue, and they're way too, every word needs to count in a script. Like a script is like a haiku. And, you know, you watch like a Woody Allen movie or like movies with really excellent scripts. There's not a wasted word in them. And so that's a hard thing to do. But anyway, you don't read and you don't write enough. And honestly, if you work in film, especially if you work in a director, producer, actor, any top level type of job you see in Academy Awards, you are going to spend 90% of your time reading or writing emails to negotiate stuff. So you're going to read and write a lot. So you better be very, very, very good at it. Honestly, you should be good at reading contracts too. I mean, you know, if you don't have good reading comprehension, you're going to get a contract thrown at you and just totally ripped off. And you won't even have the good sense to be able to hire a good lawyer to help you read the contract. So that's some of the bad things. To me, like if I had a kid who I wanted to go into film, like this is the advice I'd give to like my bestest friend's daughter who's 18 who wants to go into film. I would say major in history or philosophy, do an internship in LA in any position possible every summer at a production company of some sort. And because honestly, that's kind of valuable because then you can see how they actually works. And if you actually want to do the job, that's worth quite a bit because maybe you're like, oh, I don't like this. I'll do something else. And I'd make your own projects. Like I'd give your own homework. Even if you're just shooting it with your iPhone, I would make it so I have to shoot 3 to 5 3-minute videos a year or more. You know, just basically making a lot, reading a lot, watch all the AFI 100 top best films. Not that those are the God's best film, but they give you a jumping point. You're like, oh, I like this director who did Raging Bull. I'm going to watch more of his movies. Or I'm going to like, oh, I like this director, director of photography, Sven Nykvist. I'm going to watch more of his movies. So I'm just saying, like, it's a good way to start kind of exploring movies. And this you hear a lot from film students and stuff, like they want to make action movies. They want to make like Marvel comic book movies. And that's fine, but I can tell you the people who make Marvel comic book movies have watched all the AFI 100. You know, like they don't maybe make movies like that. I can tell you they wish they did, but they want to make a movie that makes $1 billion, and who can blame them? And everyone around them wants to make a movie that can make $1 billion. But they use those more artistic movies to inform their production to make a good Marvel comic book movie. So they just don't stop at the Marvel book comic movies. If that's all you watch, then you will never be able to make a movie that is a Marvel comic book movie, because that's not what filmmakers watch. That's what film consumers watch, but it's not what filmmakers watch. So, or just watch. Like I've seen pretty much all the Marvel comic book movies, but just because I really like movies, you know, but it's not because I expect that to make me a better filmmaker in any way. So stay motivated. I think it's very important to stay motivated. And again, to make it fun, because that's it. In fact, I think a good film teacher will just basically work on motivating the students to make more movies and watch more movies and point them in the direction into how to make movies and how to navigate the field and to be motivated. But I gotta tell you, so like I have film teachers, that's a whole nother thing there. A lot of film teachers, again, there's good teachers. I've had very good art teachers in my life and film teachers, and I've had very bad ones. And the bad ones, it's easy to tell who the bad ones are because they won't be happy for your success. That's it. Like I even had a art teacher, like a person won like some supermarket, I'm not kidding, like a supermarket photography contest. And he was like making fun of her, not for being in a supermarket contest, which is what he should have pointed her to other contests that would have been more valuable. But he was making fun of her for winning at all. And it was just his insecurity that like she won and he didn't. I mean, it was really disgusting, quite frankly. I mean, this poor little 19-year-old girl is being made fun of by her, 55-year-old professor about winning a competition. So, and honestly, yeah. So you don't want, if they're not happy for your success, then they don't want you to succeed, and they're not your friend, and they're not a good teacher. But but the basic thing is, like, a lot of art teachers, a lot of film teachers, they wish they were Picasso, and they end up teaching to get health insurance, and they're upset, and they take it out. They're mad with themselves and they're mad with their students, and they're just not happy people, and you don't want to be around people like that. They're not going to help you to succeed, and you may naively think they're there because you're paying them to help you succeed, but they're not. They really kind of just view you as competition, and they want to do the bare minimum so they keep their job, and they don't want you to threaten their freelance work on the side. And if you hit it big time, nothing will make them feel worse. So you don't want to be around people like that. And that's where being in history or philosophy, I feel, is a good thing, because history and philosophy professors wanted to be history and philosophy professors. And no point were they like, wow, when I'm getting my PhD, I hope I'm like Picasso. Like, no, they were like, I want to be a professor and I want to teach history. And history and philosophy are great things to learn. History in particular, but because you learn how people actually behave. You learn history. You learn what people do in certain situations. You know what people do when Napoleon is retreating from Moscow. You see how people behave, and it can help you inform your movies. And that's the biggest problem when people are young, is they don't really have enough life experience of their own to draw from. But by studying history and reading biographies and histories of the world and histories of civilizations and cultures, you can kind of draw on everybody else's experiences, and it make you a wiser individual more quickly. So again, but of course it's very important with movies, because like you can make it as a nurse or doctor by taking the classes and graduating with a nursing degree and graduating with a doctorate degree and then go working. That you will be a nurse. But if you to be a filmmaker or to be you need to work so much harder than the stuff you're given in school. Like 1 out of 100, maybe 2 out of 100 people it could graduate from even a pretty good university film program will actually be working in film 10 years later. And yeah, so that's the truth. So you're gonna have to work a lot harder to actually become a filmmaker than you will in any other major. And again, I think that's a danger, like particularly like I can tell you, like no child of a doctor, dentist, lawyer, and accountant, when they hear their son's going to go into film, thinks, oh, they're going to be rich. But maybe if you're like first generation college, because film is such a visible way of like money, and you could see the fancy dresses at the Academy Awards and things like that, you may think it's an avenue to get rich, but it's really kind of not. Like everybody who's in film, like if they had done anything else, they would have made way more money. Like if Robert Redford had gone into business, he would have made way more money. You know, he's just a really incredibly talented, great person at filmmaking, but he's pretty entrepreneurial. But if he had like started a business or put that effort into something else, he probably would have made more money. Same thing like George Clooney or whatever. So anyway, so should I go to college at all? That is another question. To me, the answer is yes, because life is a long journey. And you may be a very different person at 22 than you are at 32 and 42 or 52. And you may be a person who's like, yeah, I don't really want to do film. And so then you'll just be very glad you have that college degree to kind of launch you into something else. So, it opens a lot of doors. Like I had a friend who was an actor. He got a degree in acting, which probably was not very productive for him becoming an actor. He went to LA, he had an agent, but by the time he was 34, he was kind of like, I don't know if this is for me. I'm not getting the parts I want. And so he took the MCAT and applied to medical school and went to UCLA Medical School and became a doctor. And, I think he's very happy with that career path, and it's worked out for him. And, a lot of jobs that seem fun in your 20s, you can't imagine wanting to be a doctor in your 20s, but then when you get older, you're like, yeah, that sounds good. So, I say go to college, major in anything you can read and write a lot. I would go, even if you're not majoring in film, I would try to work with as many of the film students as possible on their own personal projects, because then you get the networking of film school. And they'll be happy to have another set of hands to help. And then I would also, anything you read or write, and then internships with people actually doing the job, particularly if you can get them in a major media center like LA or London or something like that. And that's expensive because they're not going to pay you, but it's worth it. It's cheaper than college because you'll learn more there than, and you don't pay tuition, but they may not pay you much, and you lose money because the cost of living is very expensive generally in media centers, but it'll be more valuable than studying film. So anyway, in summary, I'm pro going to college, I'm pro reading a lot of scripts and writing a lot of scripts. I'm pro watching a lot of movies and making a lot of movies. I'm pro all those things. Again, if you want to work film crew, work gaffer, by far the best way is to just kind of jump in on a film crew and just be the guy who works really hard. Maybe I should do another video on how to work film crew and how to advance in that, because that's really just kind of a whole nother thing, but it's much more like an apprentice style job. So anyway, I will see you later. Good luck. Red Finch Rental.